Don't just say statements because everybody else who's selling a course is saying those statements. Say things that resonate with your ideal customer. When you create every piece of content to speak directly to your ideal client, you will be so surprised at how fast you gain a following and start making sales. If you don't know how to create your ideal client to begin with, check out the video I've tagged below. You need to be speaking to this person in order to actually create a brand, a business, and sales. If something repels and grosses you out, then it grosses your ideal customer out as well. For instance, I have really started hating how people say, oh, you can do digital marketing in 1 to 2 hours a day. I know 0 digital marketers who work 1 to 2 hours a day and make the type of money that they make. Honestly, I get that that's a marketing tactic, but it is something that just like boils me from the inside. So I mention it a lot and I gain a lot of followers, and I get a lot of people who tell me that they purchased from me because they felt like I was honest and sincere and that I was giving them the truth, and that's all they really wanted to begin with. But you know who's not going to purchase me is people who need to feel inspired, feel like this is easy in order to get started. They may not be afraid of hard work, but they need to feel like it's going to be really, really easy. And that's when they're going to make the next step. Those are people that aren't going to resonate with my content because I'm just too blunt, too honest, too straightforward about the amount of work that it takes. And some people don't like that. Some people don't like the bluntness and honesty. They just want like a fluffy person and a really kind person that's just here motivating them and encouraging them. And that's awesome, but that's just not my ideal client. And this is why like polarizing content is so huge. Not only does it get a lot of eyes and a lot of traction, but polarizing content makes a stance for you and tells people what you're all about, while at the same time gaining traction because it throws people into your comments section, but at the same time it pulls out your ideal people. So the people who follow me and purchase from me are also people who just don't like BS, right? They just want you to be straightforward and honest with them, and then they'll make a purchase based off of their knowledge and their education and what is right for them. And that's what I want. That's my ideal customer. Every piece of content you create needs to be talking to your ideal customer, something they love, something that motivates them, something that, lights a fire under them, something that they hate, something that would also inspire them if they saw that piece of content. So don't talk about things that don't motivate you. Don't talk about things that you can't connect with or relate with. I once audited an account of a man who is not a dad, and he spoke a lot to like, well, and if you just want to be home more with your kids. And almost every time he brought up kids, I was like, it just doesn't seem super authentic. I don't know why I felt that way. And I actually didn't know he didn't have kids until I spoke with him. He was mentioning this because he saw a lot of people say, don't you want to stay home with your kids more? And I'm like, well, that's fine. And people do want to stay home with their kids more, but you shouldn't be talking to that person because that's not something that you connect with in your soul. That's not something you understand fully. You get it. It makes sense. But like, I can tell just by watching it that you don't have the feeling behind that statement. Like, oh, if you want to stay home with your kids more, that's someone who works 2 jobs and literally never sees their kids because he leaves before they wake up and he gets home after they go to bed. And then he works every single weekend for 8 hours. And so he just has 4 hours, to see his kids twice a week. You know what I mean?